All right, technical issues are resolved. That's good. So, hi everybody. My name is Danielle. I have been in recruitment for about 10 years now. I've been with SNC Lavalin for a couple of those years. So I was quite happy when Mo approached me to have a conversation with you guys, simply because I know that sometimes being a newcomer, whether you just arrived in Canada or you've been here for a while, can be quite challenging because, especially in the industry of engineering, there's a lot of competition and you do have to stand out. So I'm hoping that at least I can give you guys a little bit of value add in your search. Like I was saying, I'm quite open to have a discussion. I'm in the business of people, so I love to connect with people. I remain in contact with people throughout my career. So I'm going to give you a brief rundown of what we're going to talk about in terms of job market in Canada. Feel free to stop me along the way. Forgive me, I don't know Zoom as well. I don't know if you can do like a raise hand or whatever. Maybe Mo, you can let me know if there's a question that comes in and I can stop. Otherwise, feel free to reserve it for the end, and we'll put more of a time on the Q&A, because I do feel that's more valuable, because the majority of you that are here like to have specific things that you're looking to know or maybe understand that perhaps I can help. So in terms of a brief agenda for today, I kind of want to do a quick intro to myself. We're going to talk about diversity and inclusion, employment search strategies to help you, as well as tools, the ABCs of your resume. And it does sound, it might sound very basic, but you would be very surprised as to what you may or may not know about your resume. I'll give you a couple tips on writing your resume. We'll talk about keywords as well, and I'm speaking very broadly, and I'll explain it a little bit more. And then, of course, we're going to touch quickly upon, preparing for your interview and what you can do before. So a little bit about me. Like I said, I've been in recruiting for 10 years. I've been with SNC Lavalin for a year and a half. I have recruited majority in engineering, mostly technical roles. I work in some agriculture, including Mo. Yes, I reached out to Mo. He brought him to Ottawa, but it was quite sad that he returned to Toronto. I guess if you like the city, you stay in the city.
We look forward for our inclusions.
Pardon me?
We look forward for our inclusion. Like Mo.
Perfect. I like it. So I'm very fortunate. I within SNC and within I also have my own firm that I've managed successfully for the past 5 years. I do a lot of project work in construction predominantly, and I'm very fortunate to work with a company like SNC because we are an international company, and I hear so many times, from candidates, well, I have experience, but it wasn't from Canada. And I am trying to break that down so much because as an international company, we recognize every experience that you have had, and we value on that because there's some project that you've worked on that are way bigger that you've done externally or outside of Canada than you will ever do here. So our teams at SNC are built with international people, and that's what makes us successful in our projects, because it allows us to see a variety of different scenarios and issues, and having different problem solving capabilities within our team. So anyways, I will talk to you about some stuff, and we'll save the questions for the end, or at least throughout the presentation. The first thing I wanted to talk to you about and touch upon is diversity and inclusion, because as we go, there's a lot more and more companies that are implementing these types of policies. And this comes from, perhaps a discrimination that's happened in the past, but people are really making an effort. With SNC specifically, we do have a diversity and inclusion month. We highlight the skill set, the talent of our people across the company, and we do value what experiences that people bring. So some companies will do it to attract more qualified people, to strengthen their employer brand, because they want to make sure that people know that they are inclusive and they recognize all sorts of experience. and to innovate, because like I said, you've likely worked on a project that can bring a lot of value to ours. And of course, to better serve our customers, because our customers are not, all male or some of the, I just want to touch upon quickly the employment search strategy, because, the more I see is a lot of people that are applying to positions that are not necessarily positions that fit their skill set. I see a lot of people devaluing their experiences and applying for positions that are way below the standard of what they should be applying. So I think the best thing for anyone to do before you even start on a job search is to really identify the position you are looking for. The ultimate goal of what position you are looking for, not what job can I get so I can pay the bills. Of course, we all have that problem, but you need to have the confidence in identifying what position you are after. And then from there, you need to identify the best tools that you can use to be able to kind of reach that goal of the position. And I think nowadays, the biggest thing is to build your own brand. So be present on social media and connect networks of the positions that you're looking for, the company networks of those positions that you're looking for. The goal is to have a presence. The goal is for hiring managers and recruiters to notice you and to see you. So I do want to talk about a couple of tools that you can use. So of course, there's, job websites that you can upload your resumes to. But a lot of people are not aware that a lot of companies have job alerts on their career sites where you can actually type in a few keywords, and if there's ever a posting for this particular job, you'll actually get a notification. So we could maybe go into a little bit more details later if somebody has questions about that, but Google is a fantastic tool to teach you how to use job alerts. Of course, there's job posting sites like the Indeeds of the world, the ZipRecruiters, all of those sites as well. But LinkedIn is huge. I think the majority of people do have a LinkedIn, but I will give you a tip that it's important to put as much attention on your LinkedIn as it is to put on your resume. And there are features that do allow you to show that you are open for opportunities, so that whether you apply for a job and a recruiter goes and looks at your profile, or we're just kind of doing a search on LinkedIn, it's great to know when people are open. Because as recruiters, we are also known as headhunters. So we do want to find people that are qualified, but when we reach out to people, it's not everyone that's open to changing opportunities. So it kind of just opens the door to invite us to a conversation. And explore your local employment agencies as well. But don't simply go to any employment agency. Research in your city or your town which ones are more specialized in your professional background. So there's firms that are specialized only in accounting. Well, I can tell you that if Mo sends a CV to an accounting firm, he's likely not going to get a call back. And he's going to have wasted his time, and there's probably be more frustration for him to not get, a good opportunity or a callback. So when I'm telling you, I was telling you earlier to target your search for what you're looking for, is because you're lessening your disappointments ultimately, and you're really targeting the proper position. So same thing, target your employment agencies as well. And social media, I know there's a lot of employers that will post on Instagram and Facebook, some that are a lot more active than others. Again, research who's doing that, target those companies, and most importantly, network. A lot of people will reach out to me and send an email on LinkedIn and say, here's my resume, here is a long list of everything I've done in my career, which is great. However, the networking is to establish connection, mutual connections with people. And I always give the advice to, when I hear, I keep applying to jobs and I'm not getting a response. Well, you know what? Have you done a bit of research? Do you know who's hiring? Do you know the background of the person who's hiring? Have you ever attempted to connect and send just a hey message, you know, not a whole list of your entire experience? Sometimes as a recruiter, it's nice to get a, hey, how are you? I saw you're looking for a position. Please check out my LinkedIn. I would love to chat. You know, something like that is nicer than, you know, getting a message that will take you 10 minutes to read, that will list every single every single experience, every course taken, every project worked on. You know what? I get hundreds and hundreds a day. If I were to spend my time reading every single message, I would never be able to do my job. And this is honestly me being very transparent and very honest. The expression less is more is very fitting in this too. Very, very fitting. Yeah, so that's the biggest thing here, is to network in that sense and connect with the hiring managers. Try to find out, you know, if there's let's say a mechanical engineer in Ottawa, for example, why not find out who the director is of that division and send them a message, not just relying on your HR who gets bombarded. Most people don't even try to get to know who the manager is, and they don't try to look at their background and establish a mutual connection. Maybe you guys know someone from the same company, or maybe you've worked on a same project and never met. Like, there's a lot of ways that you can connect with someone, because it is a crazy small world. And I know this more and more as I get to meet people. So these are important.
Danielle, sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to make it clear for myself. So you, as a senior recruiter, you are kind of like welcome any new connections through us, you know, I don't know, in any link, you know, in LinkedIn, through any channels that you can. But the only thing that you want is that, you know, to kind of like just try to create a true connection with you, not just sending a resume or things like that and ask you, you know, to just refer you for a specific position. Is that right?
Thank you. Yes, exactly. Because it's funny, because and this is a bit of a sidebar, but you know, I'm not an Instagram person. I'm not a Twitter person. I'm a Facebook person, and I've been on Facebook for however many years. And people used to laugh at me because I never put my last name on my Facebook. I always had Danielle Diane, which is my middle name. And people would ask, why are you not putting your name? And I would say, because in recruitment, everybody wants to be your friend, right? It's like, no, but it's true. And on LinkedIn, it's quite the same, but sometimes it's just refreshing when somebody, you know, wants to make a contact with you. Yes, for what you can do for them, but don't forget that I also have, you know, a job to do, and I also want to find the right people. So if you can introduce yourself in a way that you can demonstrate that you're the right person without having you read, you know, your resume, that you would hopefully apply directly to the position that I can go see directly in the job posting. For me, it's like, hey, Danielle, you know, my name is Saeed or Amir. I saw this posting. I just wanted to let you know I've applied for it online. I genuinely feel that I am a right fit for this job. Again, going back to what you're seeking. You know, you're seeking the right position, not just a job. So that's a good way to introduce. Does that make sense?
Sometimes, you know, people specifically, you know, new immigrants, I would say, you know, they are a little bit shy. They feel that, you know, they are kind of like bothering you. They don't want it to kind of like do this kind of like persistency, you know, to kind of like ask you. If they ask you and you don't answer, they will quit. You know, they won't follow up.
Yeah, and honestly, I get guilty of that too. If I show you the amount of email I get in a day and the amount of LinkedIn direct messages that I get in a day, you would understand why I cannot reply to every single one. But I'm going to tell you, if you're adamant that you're the right position, send me an email, send me a message on LinkedIn, and send it again if I haven't given you attention, because you're 100% sure you meet every single requirement because you read the job description and you've targeted your resume to that job description and you put the effort into it. So make me put the effort into it. It's just kind of as simple as that. With that said, if you are clearly not the right fit, because I've said, thank you, but it's not exactly what we're looking for, sending me a million messages probably won't help, because I do go through every single resume, believe it or not, that I receive on a position. So I'm going to move forward to the next slide. So the ABCs of your resume. I guess what I can tell you is your resume is your business card. Your business card is informative. It says who you are, your contact information, what your position is, right? Your resume should be like that as well. It shouldn't be 20 pages long. Believe it or not, I get the longest resumes in life. Like, I get longest resumes. We get transcripts attached, a copy of every certification you have. That is not necessary, because you're overwhelming the person who's looking at your resume. Put your resume in 2 to 3 pages maximum. If you're an engineer that's worked on like a multitude of projects all over the world, what I can say is, if you're specialized in something specific, speak of what you have done and then put a list of your projects. I see a lot of people will put, let's say you've been a process engineer or something like that, and you've worked all over the world and you've helped manufacturing facilities and what it may be, but you've generally done the same thing from job to job. You don't have to copy and paste the same under each position that you have. You can kind of reduce to your positions that you've done and then do a broad overview of what you have done within those positions, or you can put maybe accomplishments for every one or something like that, which could be helpful. So be very factual, and I think use appropriate vocabulary or site numbers. And by this I mean, and I'm going to go back to project, because I know internationally there are a lot more experiences coming from projects than anything else, whether it be oil and gas or transportation, rail, whatever it may be. Use industry lingo. I think it's important. And if you have been, let's say you're a cost control engineer or you're a project manager, use some numbers. People like numbers. Hiring managers love numbers. I love numbers. So if you worked on a project that's worth $1 billion, put that on, because if you worked on a project that's worth $1 million, well, the experience you've gathered between a $1 million project and $1 billion project is huge. And if our project is $600 million and you've worked on something that's 10 times the size, guess what? You've probably encountered 10 times the problems. You have probably been able to come up with 10 times the solutions. So this is a good way to put yourself out there and be very factual. And I'm saying to use keywords to grab the recruiter's attention. If I can be honest with you, we spend about 10 to 20 seconds per resume. And that might sound silly to you, but if we have 100 or 200 applicants and we go through every single resume, we are not the government. We don't have software and machines that will read every keyword in your resume and then put you in the good pile or the bad pile. We are human recruiters. We are passionate about what we do. We love our company and we want to make sure we place the right people. So we go through every single resume. When I go initially through the resumes, I make a yes pile and a no pile, but it takes me on average 10 seconds to go through. I look at what your job titles have been, the companies you've worked for. Have you jumped around jobs every 6 months? If you have, is it because you're so great that you've been brought from project to project, or is it because you can't keep a job? So I go through that, and I have been doing this daily for 10 years. I have become a pro at going through resumes without software, but you need to grab the attention quickly. When I'm telling you not to do a 20-page resume, it's because we will not go through the 20 pages initially. Now, I'm not saying I do not read your resume. If I've established that your resume looks to me like it would be a viable candidacy for our position, I will read every word of your resume. And you can guarantee when I call you, because your resume is very perfect for the position, because you've sought the right position, you have put the right keywords in there. And when I see that your resume is great, I will go through it. When I call you, I will know what you've done. I will ask questions based on what I read. And, you know, I think that's important. If you're reading a position and you want to apply to a position, and I understand that it's hard to find a job and you're trying to put out as many applications as possible, but I'll let you in on a little tip, okay? And I use S&C because it's, you know, the most relevant to all of you, but at S&C, we can actually see how many applications you have put into our company. And do you want to know who grabs my attention more? Is the person that has applied to 2 or 3 positions versus the person that has applied to 200. There's people that have applied to that many positions. I don't know if it's desperation or what it may be, but it's not a good thing, because to me, it just states that this person is not reading job descriptions. They're applying to anything and everything, and they don't know who they are. And it's true. So when you're targeting your search and you're applying to the right position, you can have the confidence. You know, when you read a job description and you're like, oh my, this is the one, like this is the job. It is perfect for me. And you get the little good feelings. You know, I've been through that. You get the, you know, the positive feeling that you have a real shot at this, right? Now, this is a job. I'm going to start bugging this recruiter because this recruiter is crazy if she doesn't call me. Like, this is the job. You know, this is what you need to do. So adapt your CV, target it, and really put the relevant information, because it might take you a little bit longer to target your CV to a specific job. But if in your heart you feel this is a perfect job for you, you know, it's worth the investment of your time to do it. And it's worth your investment of time to bug me to invest myself in you because you're perfect, versus investing your time and just sending resumes just to get a call. But the reality is people don't target. I get often resumes that are addressed to a whole different company or a whole different job because someone's just hitting send on the resume. And, you know, it's important because then it, you know, if your name keeps popping up, we recognize, oh, this is a person that just applies to everything. It might sound bad, but it is a true tip that I'm giving you, a very true tip. And it's a very important one too. So I'll move on. So writing your resume, this is where I hope you can get a lot of value, because you know, we're keeping your 2 or 3, you know, your 2 or 3 page resume. So your personal details are important, your professional experiences, your training, you know, do you have your PNG, or are you an EIT? Are you registered somewhere in a, you know, are you part of a PO, all that stuff. But your languages are important. Your computer skills and software, you know, are you a designer or a technician? Or are you up to date in the Revit? Do you know BIM? Or, you know, those are important things to know, because every company and every group, especially within S&C, uses different tools. So you do yourself a huge disservice if you don't put them on there. Are you a project manager? Do you use Primavera? What version? Because you know what, in my job description, I'm probably telling you, I need a Primavera P6. If you have it, please put it. I will look for it. I will find it. So that's an extra check in your favor. Now, there are elements that are not relevant. So again, I'm just going to reiterate, take off your birthday, take off your marital status, take off your religion, take off your picture, take off anything that will allow someone to discriminate against you. And this because you might be an immigrant to the country, you get discriminated by any regardless of where you're from, regardless of how old you are, your marital status, your religion, someone will always find wrong about someone else. So take it off and just reduce the chances of kind of, filtered out for something that is nobody's business ultimately. So if that is on your resume, if anything personal is on your resume, including your picture, because I'm sorry, but whether you have a much or curly, or you're female or you're a male, doesn't change the fact that you can do this job. So let's remove it completely from your resume. Now, up next, so we were talking about the keywords. I think I've touched upon this already, but I'm going to go through it. So keywords again, make sure it corresponds to your trade. So I'll give you an example. If you are a mechanical engineer, are you an engineer? Are you a building engineer? You need to focus very on the keywords of your trade. Do some research. Go look at your perceived peers. Pay attention to what they use. People are getting better and better with their LinkedIn. So read their headlines, their summary, their skills. See what's attractive to you. It's likely attractive to someone else. So try to mirror what you see as a general practice within the trade in that area, and mimic. I'm not saying copy else's profile. However, I'm to just put some attention to what the local industry is doing of, that industry. And as well, read job descriptions. So whether you apply to it or not, read job descriptions because your verbiage is used and what's most common, so that you can use a lot of those keywords. And saying to you, I go through everything, I go resume for 10 or 10 minutes, go through everyone. But there's a lot of companies, big like SNC with 50,000 people, there's government agencies, and small companies. A lot of people use AI software that filters through CVs on their behalf. Although I personally think it's wrong, and I will never go about recruiting that way. Those softwares use keywords. So the more keywords you have that are relevant, the better shot that you'd have in getting kind of rather than the wrong pile. So that's important. And LinkedIn too, they publish lists, and they have one of the 5 most sought after skills, by recruiters all over the world. If there's what your skills are, put it on your list. Like it's easy. So I guess now what I do want to do is give you guys a couple of tips on for your interview.
Want me to continue with preparing an interview, or did you want me to skip that?
Right now, your sound is completely clear. What happened? I don't know, that's a miracle. Go ahead.
Perfect. I actually just put a headset on. I think this might help a little bit. I should have done this a little bit sooner. So in the question period, if there's anything that may not have been clear to you, please feel free to ask it, okay? So I'll start again with preparing for your interview. I think this is really important. Do a bit of company research. You don't have to know all the specifics of a company, but try to local projects or important things like that. If you see that if you've identified who the hiring manager is, kind of look at their page and see if there's anything that would strike as kind of passionate to them, and maybe have a little bit of focus on that when you're reading company. Also, read the job description again, read it a few times, and try to make some links with what we're looking for and what your experience has been. Because oftentimes, and I know my form of interview is, I always allow our interviewee to us and walking us through your resume. You know what? You can add a lot of valuable information from your experiences on what. So if we're looking for a specific, experiences, talk about those. don't talk about all of the things that are not relevant to this position. It's fine to add some things that aren't relevant directly to this position, especially if you've got an achievement or you're very proud of something, but comment on what will match or the links between the responsibilities of the job we're looking to fill and what you have done, or perhaps the academic experience you've had that could be beneficial to assisting us in filling the void. And super important here, prepare questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. In fact, I highly encourage you to ask questions because it shows your interest in the position. It shows that you've been paying attention, and it shows that sense, but you have as interested in the position as what we are in you. So it's a two-way street here. We have to buy into you and you have to buy into us. So don't be prepared, don't be afraid to ask some tough questions. So I think that's it. What we do look for is you're in an interview with us because we feel that your skills on paper were enough to bring you to an interview. Solidify those skills. However, we want to also see that you're going to fit in terms of personality and soft skills as well, not just the experiences that you have. Does that make sense?
Completely.
Perfect. So this is all I've prepared for you guys. It went a little bit longer than I thought, but actually within 2 minutes of what you told me to prepare for. So I guess I had more things to say than I thought. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. What I'm hoping will work is I will turn on my video. And if you have a question to ask, maybe Mo, perhaps you can kind of manage this. But if someone has a question, perhaps they can turn on their video so that we can have a bit of a conversation one-to-one versus me talking to a name on a screen, if that makes sense.
Yeah, sure. Sure. First of all, let me thank you, for the presentation that you provide for us. And I know, you squeeze all of your experience and lots of hints, during the things, it was perfect. Appreciate it. And, hopefully we will have you on board again, maybe next time, for sure. So anyone who has question, please raise hand and turn the video on, and you're good to kind of like ask your question. Okay, so Aladdin, you can. Oh, Ferial, you can start. Yeah, yes, please. And next one is Aladdin.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much, Daniel, for very nice presentation, and thanks, Mo, for giving us this opportunity to hear very, very important notes from Daniel. Daniel, I have a question regarding the overqualifying. How can we hide some things that it seems the person is overqualified? For example, I'm working architectural field and I'm PhD. I know in architectural field, most of people need to concentrate on design and also the softwares and interaction with the, for example, consultants, something like this. But these aren't related PhD, that it's a research completely area. But because I have a lot of experience, for example, about 20 years, I don't know how can I hide that. Do I have to hide that, or I can express it? And please let me know how we can present when think that we are overqualified. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Ferial. That's a great question, and one that I get asked often, and I do struggle with it a little bit, and very much honesty, and I want to tell you why. So the first thing I can tell you in terms of comment here is yes, you can be qualified, but overqualified. However, it goes back to what I was saying on applying for the right positions. So if you're applying for positions that are too much your junior to your experience, you know, you're going to lessen your chances. And I'll tell you why. Oftentimes, you're going to be more qualified than what your potential manager will be. And some people can be threatened by that. And that's a fact. So sometimes you're going to get disqualified simply because you have too much experience. And that's true. So by applying for the right jobs, it eliminates some of those things. The second thing I can tell you is really to read the job description. And if you honestly feel that you were overqualified from the position, you know what? You can leave some things out. You can leave some things out. If you just want to say you have your master's, then you're more in line with what everyone else has. If you have your PhD and they don't require a PhD and they don't require a master's, they just require a bachelor's degree, I would consider leaving it out. And you can share that information because I'm sure you're proud and it's quite an accomplishment. Share it in an interview if that's what you feel will get you there. The idea is never to lie on a resume. However, you can omit some details that will disqualify you or reduce your chances. So that's the tip I would have for you. Does that help answer your question a little bit?
Yeah, it was perfect. Thank you so much. But there is two things that I couldn't get it because we have to, for example, update our LinkedIn, and LinkedIn shows that what is my professional experience and also the certificates that I have. And when I hide it in my resume that I'm sending, might be it has conflicts. And also, I don't know when I have this as an international experience, how can I actually offer my job as a manager or somebody that is not very, very familiar with this in this country, you know? This, for example, I have 16 years right now I'm okay because I have 16 years experience internationally and 4 years experience in Canada. But for example, when I came here, I didn't have any experience, but before that, I had a company by myself and I managed a lot of things. Therefore, I was very familiar with a lot of things, but I had to start with junior positions. I started that and I hid everything, but my LinkedIn was actually almost hidden, almost hidden.
Well, so it's a bit contradictory what I'm going to tell you. So if you're applying to position directly, I would say if you feel you're overqualified and you feel you want to remove, some details, go for it. Your LinkedIn, the LinkedIn is there. Yeah, recruiters use it to go look at profiles on occasion, but they're going to be sold on you based on your resume because you've applied. Where LinkedIn becomes extraordinarily useful for a recruiter is when we're headhunting. We can't find the right person. We go to LinkedIn and we search through profiles. So I would tell you not to remove your information from LinkedIn. You're not lying. You're simply omitting for this particular position because you're trying to fit what your employer is looking for. Also, another tip I can tell you is if your experience is all international, try to focus on companies that are international as well, because and I wasn't as well versed on international prior to SNC, but I can tell you, I work on the Trillium project. I work on many projects, but the Trillium project is the light rail project in Ottawa. So it's the second phase of the expansion. I can tell you that over 60% of the hires I have made on this project have been international, because Ottawa is brand new to the rail or the light rail. There have only been a few projects in Toronto and Edmonton, very few in Vancouver that have offered this. So if the city of Ottawa says to me, Danielle, I have a position and I need to approve this person, I want to make sure that you have found me something with someone with 10 years of experience, or we will never approve their hire. Guess what? Canada does not have 10 years of experience, like 10 years of projects that are relevant. So I feel frustrated. I feel frustrated for people that have a difficulty because they have international experience. And I hope one day that I don't have Canadian experience, I only have international experience. I hope one day that candidates don't have to feel that way anymore, because as a recruiter, I certainly don't feel that your international experience is any less than the experience you would have in Canada. Sadly, not everybody thinks that way. Hence, while I'm telling you, take off all these extra things that can have you discriminated against, because there's a jerk out there that wants to discriminate. So that's the kind of the best advice I can give you. I hope I've helped you, Fariel.
Thank you so much. It was perfect. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Mo.
So Aladdin, that's your turn. Please shorten your question, because we have lots of attendees that they are going to ask questions. Please, thank you.
Definitely. And thank
Aladdin.
you. Hi. My question is going to be very fast and direct to the point. I understand the necessity of tailoring the resume and target the job post being applied for. But when I'm describing the career objective, does it need to be perfectly the same like how it is in the job post? For example, if the job post is for a design manager or construction manager, so I should change the career objective in my resume to be perfectly like how it is written in the job post?
No, not necessarily. So if you're looking for the same type of position, so if you're targeting the types of position you're looking for, the reality is the majority of them will be the same type of position in terms of the job description. So your career objective is your career objective. What is Aladdin's career objective? Not what is Aladdin's career objective because this is what SNC wants. That's kind of where you can make it personal to you. But in your career objective, don't say you want to be a doctor when you're applying for an engineering position. You can keep it fairly generic.
Yeah, it's not like this. For example, I'm talking about myself.
Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. I have about 31 years experience in the engineering field. About 16 of them were solely in the design. But after that, I switched to supervision and integrated projects delivery, delivering projects for the clients. So to invent a description that matches both won't serve the purpose, I believe. If I am applying for a job that requires a construction guy who will be based on site, so I should eliminate the design portion of that.
Correct. You should eliminate it in terms of the objective of your career, but don't eliminate it from your resume, because there's a lot of value in someone who understands the design. Exactly. And somebody who's on the construction side, because someone who's on the construction side and has no design experience will say, well, this is how we need to do it. It doesn't work. The design doesn't work. Definitely. Well, if you have the design experience, you understand the clashes. And so on the other side, if you're a designer, you get frustrated at the construction people because, they don't understand. Well, honestly, if you have both, that's good. So don't remove it from your resume, but don't say I'm looking for a design position when you're applying to be a superintendent. It just doesn't quite match. But you need to figure out, though, Aladdin, do you want to be a designer or do you want to be on the construction side? So this is, again, targeting what you're looking for.
And if they need to be on the construction side, does it mean that job, that the career objective should not refer to the design aspect?
You should have it be more relevant to the job description itself.
Less emphasize it, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Okay.
But your career objective, it's either you're very focused on what you want to be, and if you want to be a bunch of different things, then maybe don't even put one, or make it more generic. don't say you want to be everything to everyone. However, you need to decide if you want to be a designer, if you want to be a constructor, because those are two different jobs completely. So again, it's going towards the concentrating on what you want and going after the appropriate positions for that.
Yeah, but the purpose here won't be that I want to be everything.
Aladdin, you promised, to make this question short. You ask lots of questions. I know
Okay,
that you have
thank you very
questions,
much.
but you can be in contact with Daniel, through LinkedIn, and
Yeah.
That would be my pleasure.
I'm gonna put link to my LinkedIn on the chat, so you guys can all feel free to go connect with me, and we can have at least that avenue to connect after this, if that sense.
Perfect. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Perfect.
So Ellie,
is there any other question? Okay, perfect.
So 3 questions and then we're done. Okay.
Sure, and
hi.
you guys can message me and I can help you out after if that's it.
Perfect. Sure. Ellie, please go ahead.
Hi, Danielle. Thanks for great information that you shared with us. I have
My
a
pleasure.
question. We hear most of the time that there is a hidden market about the job posting, and there's a huge portion of the jobs that they never announced online or on the media. I wanted to know, is it the same thing with SNC, or you always post the thing, or you, I mean, what percentage of the jobs will fill with the referrals usually? In essence,
honestly, we post majority of positions, but as a headhunter in the company that I run, I never post a position. So it really depends. So when a company doesn't post a position, it's because they are confidentially replacing an employee that's maybe not doing their job properly or that's not working out. So they won't post that position, or they'll make it a very general posting so that this person doesn't know. Unfortunately, some employees don't do a good job, and we have to make sure we can fulfill the client agreements that we have. So that's one of the reasons. Because it's confidential. So when I was saying earlier, to connect with hiring managers or people that you feel you could really fit in their teams, that's where it becomes important, because if you do have connections with someone like me or someone that is hiring for that particular position and that doesn't have a job description, they might say like, oh my God, Ellie's got a perfect profile for what I need. So it's important to network. It's definitely important to network. I can't put a percentage on it because it really depends on the company. But for me, I would say it would be less than 10% with SNC and about 100% with my personal company. So that's where it differs. Thank you for your question.
Thank you. Thank you.
So the next one is Human. Human, go ahead.
Hi. Thanks for the
Hi, Human. My pleasure.
I'm studying PhD, and I will finish my studies pretty soon. And last week I applied for a position related to my field, which is wastewater treatment. And the position in the job description, it was mentioned that they're looking for someone who can write a proposal or these kind of things. I mean, writing a skill was important for them. So in my CV, in my resume, I wrote that I have outstanding writing skill evidenced by publication of more than peer-reviewed journal articles. Or, for example, I wrote that I am winner of, for example, Ontario Tellurium Scholarship, which is a kind of prestigious scholarship in the university. But after that, I was talking to one of my friends, and my friend told that these kind of things is not something important for people who are looking for I mean, in terms of job recruiters, it's not something important. I don't know if we should include, because in fact, to be honest, I don't have much more experience in industry. I'm at the beginning of the road. So I'm not sure if I should include these kind of things in my resume or not.
Okay, so it depends. So if they're looking for an intermediate or a senior person to do this position, or if it's a junior or entry-level position, it will be different. So the academic is certainly important, but if there's an emphasis in the job description for hands-on experience, is not as relevant, but it is an achievement. Someone who has gone through the PhD, has had scholarships. It shows that there's a dedication and hard work. I would be proud of that, and I would display that, especially if you're looking for a position to get you started. And then once you're in a junior position, then all the experiences you have academically would allow you to kind of grow. But with all the academic you have and all those wonderful things that you've put an effort in, I would make sure that when I do reach out to hiring managers and recruiters, that you do let them know, and you kind of let the cat out of the bag and say, hey, I don't have a lot of experience. I've learned a lot of things, but now I really want to go practical and apply everything I've learned. Please give me a chance. Because if everything you have is academic, and I'll speak from experience, if everything you have is academic, I don't know, I don't have a reference for you. I don't know where to start with you. So tell me, I know you don't know where to start, but give me a chance. I think that's important. And you don't have to be shy. You just need to be real. I think we like to deal with people. We're passionate about people. I like to help. And if you say, if you say, hey, Danielle, I don't know where to start. I want to start somewhere. I want to put in the time and I want to put in the effort. I've learned all of these amazing things, and I'm sure a lot of it will be an asset to your company, but please give me a shot. If I have a position where I can take an entry person regardless of the academic, oh my God, I will do it every time. But if my hiring manager says, no, Danielle, and I want you to put in the job description, I need at least 5 years of experience, as much as I might like you, Human, there is no way I can get you in that job. So again, it's going back to the job description.
Thanks.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm trying to give you as much information as I can.
Thank you so much. So the Mona is the last one. Go ahead, Mona. Okay. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Hi.
Thank you so much for your presentation. Daniel,
No problem.
I would like to hear actually your opinion from the HR standpoint. If I am working in a management team in a small company, and now I want to move to a bigger company, and you are receiving my resume, and you see that the qualification part is there, but I know that working in a small company with less people, that you are supervising, is going to be very different to working in a bigger company. I mean, very well-known, for example, pharmaceutical company. Do you still consider those resumes, and what do you recommend me to do to get get my resume pulled out actually for next step, or maybe for a potential interview?
So if it is relevant to the position we're hiring for, 100% put it on there. It is your experience. So put it out there. So I'll let you in on a secret, okay? You might be a manager in a really small company, but you have touched way more departments. You have put on way more hats. You've probably managed way more people that maybe a manager or director in this company or in a division of our company has ever done. So I am a big fan of smaller companies, as long as it's relevant to what we're looking to hire. Because sometimes, and I'll give you an example. I just placed a director of finance within one of our divisions. How many direct reports did they have, do you think?
For finance?
0, and they are a director. So you don't know if that position has a lot of direct reports or if they have 0. And you might have just been a supervisor and you have done way more than the director. So again, look at the job description. Don't look at the title necessarily. And you need to apply based on the confidence that you have that you are qualified to do this job. If they're saying you're managing a team of 20 and you have a portfolio of $500 million, well, Mona, you'll know if you can handle 20 people and $500 million. If you can't, don't apply, because you're going to get eaten alive in an interview. But if you can, apply. Who cares if you were in a smaller company? If you can do it and you're confident that you can do it and that your resume will demonstrate that to whoever's hiring, absolutely apply.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. So Mo, can I ask a little something of you? I know it's you know, the time is running out, and I love to help, and I want to answer every question. Is there a way that you can gather the questions so that your the attendees can email you a question and you can just send them all to me? And what I can do is I can take the time and respond to every question. I can put it in a PDF, send it to you so that you can send it to everybody. Is
Sure,
that okay?
That would be perfect. That would be perfect. If you have time, just for like extra 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So that is the last one. Okay, so perfect.
Absolutely.
Hi, Daniela.
Hi.
Thank you very much for your nice
pleasure.
presentation. I've learned many things from you. Thank you very much.
Good.
I have a brief question. You know, I'm a newcomer here, and I was a project control specialist in my country, and as a newcomer here, I hadn't chance to enter to the market. I mean, industry and infrastructure industries. So I started working as a teacher here in teaching softwares, engineering softwares. But I wonder if I should put in my experience in teaching, software teaching in my resume, or it's not professional to insert such experience in my resume because they aren't.
She's teaching Primavera that you mentioned.
Oh, very cool. Honestly, it's very relevant to your industry, right? So if you don't, so what were you doing prior to coming here? Like you said you were in costing, right? Cost controller, is that what you said? Sorry, I missed your...
Construction and infrastructure projects. Highway.
Okay,
yes,
what were you doing in those projects?
I was project control specialist.
Okay, project controller.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so project controls. So the teaching of the Primavera is quite relevant to the planner and the controller, right? So I would never take it off of my resume. However, I would put it in maybe other experience. And I'll tell you why, because you don't want someone to think, oh, well, she wants to go teach now. She doesn't want to do this anymore. So put it under other experience, demonstrate your capabilities with technology, because a lot of people lack that. Believe it or not, I interview people that are cost controllers and they're fantastic and brilliant with numbers. And then I ask them how their Excel skills are. And they're like, you know, I'm not super good on the computer. Well, you kind of need to be. So if you have that skill set, put it on your resume. Just don't highlight it as this is me and this is what I want to do, right? You just have to kind of tweak your resume and place it maybe somewhere else so that it's not at the forefront, but it shows that you're still working, you're still relevant, and you have a technology behind you that a lot of people don't. And maybe your skills as a cost controller or planner are intermediate, but the fact that you have all of these extra skills will kind of help put you up a little bit.
Thank you very much for your very usable points. Thank you.
But I'm going to add, Salah, if you're a preschool teacher, don't put on your resume.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, okay.
So thank you so much, Daniel. Thank you for everybody who is attending to this, I would say, informal conversation with Daniel. You know, this is our privilege, you know, to have you here with us. You know, it's a very special moment for Fanavaran, you know, to kind of like be benefit of your experience. And, you know, thank you for sharing your I would say your hints, your tricks, you know, all the things that you know. Really appreciate it. I will ask the community, you know, to kind of like ask any questions if they have, and I will send it to you. Please do kindly, you know, kind of like answer them as much as you can, and I will get back to them. Okay.
It's going to be my pleasure to do that. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you've learned a little bit of something, or that there's something I've told you that you can borrow and maybe change your strategy a little bit. I look forward to connecting with you all on LinkedIn. Please be patient with me if it takes me a little bit of time to get back to you, especially over the holidays, because I will be off. But please, if you have questions, I am very happy to answer them. Go inundate Mo's inbox. He'll send them all to me. I will take the time to answer each and every one of your questions. And if I find that it's easier to call you, maybe I'll just connect and we can have a quick chat, and I can give you some one-on-one advice.
Thank you so much again, and have a wonderful new year. Hopefully this coronavirus